consequently in the scriptural exposition of the practice of mindfulness of breathing. In the section dealing with Siddhanupasana, where it discusses the method of looking intently at the mind, it says that if the mind has lust, one knows that the mind has lust. If the mind has aversion, one knows the mind has aversion. If the mind has delusion, then one knows the mind has delusion. If the mind is depressed, then one knows that the mind is depressed. If the mind is not depressed, then one knows that the mind is not depressed. If the mind is released, then one knows that the mind is released. Vimutti. If the mind is not released, then one knows that the mind is not released. If the mind is released, then it is empty. If it is not released, then it is not empty. Let us look at our mind that is either released, that is empty of all things, or caught, that is grasping it and clinging to something. Even at the initial level of practice, the teaching is to look at the mind that is empty or vimutti. It is something that is there to be seen within. It is not something to be figured out according to books that we've read. Nibbana or sunnata is there for us to see, even while we are still unenlightened. There is the emptiness called Tadanga Vimutti that just happens to arise, as it is now, when the external conditions are right. If we concentrate the mind in the correct way so that it's completely undisturbed and at ease, more so, one may say, than when experiencing any kind of worldly pleasure, then this is Vikampana Vimutti, release by suppression. So even without the Samaketa Vimutti, or final release of the arahant, we still have a sample of emptiness to examine, a sample of the wares of the Buddha. If you are interested, you can find such a sample in yourself. Therefore, we should practice mindfulness of breathing stage by stage, developing Kayanupasana, Vidananupasana, Siddhanupasana, and Dhammanupasana. 23. It is a constant tasting of emptiness from start to finish. Finally, we will understand emptiness through seeing the painful consequences of grasping and clinging. Then the mind will immediately turn to find contentment with the ayatana of nibbana. So in this way we are able to see emptiness continually, before actually reaching its supreme level. There is a progress that follows its own law, or the law of nature itself. When having firmly comprehended something by oneself, the resulting knowledge is firm. It does not sway unstably like false knowledge or knowledge gained by listening to others. We don't have to do anything very much to make ourselves happy. We don't have to go to any great trouble. All we have to do is to empty our minds of greed, aversion, and delusion, or in other words, to make it empty of grasping it and clinging to I am mine. When the mind is empty of greed, aversion, and delusion, then it's truly empty and all dukkha comes to an end. Even kama will of itself come to an end.